When did you realize something was off about your stepdad? Everyone loved my mom's boyfriend, Gary, but something about how excited he was to spend time alone with my 15-year-old sister, Maddie, felt wrong. He moved in last year, fixed things around the house, and offered to teach Maddie to drive, since mom worked double shifts at the hospital. Happy to help, he'd say. The neighbors said mom was lucky, but those driving lessons were 3 hours when they should have been 1. That wasn't normal. Gary would pick up Maddie when mom was at work or sleeping between shifts. We practice on different roads, he'd explain, but Maddie was changing. My sister, who used to blast music and steal my makeup, now wore baggy hoodies every day. One night I heard her crying after a lesson. When I knocked, she said she was fine, but her voice was shaking. She'd delete Gary's texts immediately after reading them. Mom was too exhausted to notice anything. Between double shifts and sleeping pills for her insomnia, she barely saw us. She trusted Gary completely because he was helping. Last week she mentioned Gary took Maddie to Springfield for practice. That's 2 hours away. The week before was Riverside, always somewhere far where nobody knew them. Then yesterday I walked past the bathroom and heard Maddie throwing up. She'd been doing that after lessons lately. I found pregnancy tests hidden in her trash, wrapped in toilet paper. Both negative, but why did she need them? Why was she so scared she might be pregnant? Something was seriously wrong here. Last Tuesday I was putting groceries in Gary's car when I found a hotel key card in the door pocket. Why would Gary have this from last week's lesson? When I asked him about it later, he said they stopped there to use the bathroom. Maddie felt sick, he said, but hotels don't give you key cards for using the bathroom. The hotel key card, Maddie getting sick, the pregnancy tests, the long drives to distant towns. Then I remembered seeing Maddie's learner's permit on Gary's dresser last month, but when I'd looked closer, the birth date was wrong. It said she was 18, not 15. I thought it was weird but forgot about it until now. Hotels need ID to check in. He was getting rooms with her fake ID. Thursday came and Maddie had another lesson after school. I told mom I had work, but instead I parked near Maddie's school. When Gary picked her up at 1:45, I followed them. They drove towards Springfield again. 40 minutes out, they pulled into a hotel parking lot. I parked across the lot and watched. Gary went inside alone while Maddie waited in the car, staring at nothing. Gary came out with a key card, and they drove around to the side entrance. They went up to the second floor together. I waited 5 minutes, then followed them up. I found them by listening for Gary's voice. I waited in the hallway, then put my ear to the door. I heard a man's voice that wasn't Gary's, then another man laughing. Multiple people were in there with my 15-year-old sister. I heard Maddie's voice, scared, saying something I couldn't make out. Gary telling her to stop crying and just finish. My whole body was shaking. I wanted to break down the door, but I needed the police to catch them in the act. I ran to my car and called 911. I told them my sister was being trafficked in a hotel room on the second floor, that there were men in there with her right now. They said to stay in my car and wait. 20 minutes felt like hours. I watched the hotel entrance, terrified they'd leave before police arrived. Then police cars surrounded the building. Officers rushed inside and went straight upstairs. They brought out 3 men in handcuffs first, then Gary, who was yelling something about misunderstandings. Then an officer carried Maddie out wrapped in a blanket. More police arrived. They found 2 other rooms Gary had booked. One had cameras set up. Another had 2 men waiting their turn. Gary had been running an entire operation out of this hotel. The police found text messages on Gary's phone with times and room numbers, payment apps showing thousands in transfers. They arrested 7 men total that day. The detective told me they had enough evidence to put Gary away for years. Maddie told police Gary had been selling her for 4 months. 23 men, $30,000. He'd threatened to send videos to her school.